Hello students, welcome to Target IES. I hope you are doing great. See, in this module I am going to teach you the entire concepts of geology. Basically in ESE we don't have geology separately. We have the subject surveying and geology. Okay? See, we won't be focusing on what are the different types of rock, what is the hardness number, like what we have studied in your engineering. हम पढ़ेंगे technical terms like fold हो गया, fault हो गया. These are very important and this module will be focusing extremely on this fold and faults. But before that there is some mandatory introduction which I have to give. That's why we'll go very fast because you are already aware of what are the different types of rocks we have. Because building materials में मैंने आपको clearly पढ़ाया था ना the different types of rocks, but let us revise it once. What are different types of rocks we have? Basically we have three types: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic rock. So what is igneous rock? Whenever we have this volcanic eruptions, okay, ये जो lava solidify होगा बाहर आके, the rock you are getting will be called as igneous rock. To be precise, this rock whichever got solidified outside, we are calling it as extrusive igneous rock. Extrusive because it got solidified outside, right? So next, obviously, this whatever magma is present inside the volcano, inside our volcano, right, it will also solidify, right? So the rock whatever you are getting whenever you are excavating here in these zones, that rock from beneath the earth surface, we are calling it as plutonic rock. Okay, we are calling it as plutonic rock and this is also called as intrusive igneous rock. अगर बाहर आके सॉलिडिफाई होता है तो एक्सट्रूसिव बनेगा, अगर अंदर ही सॉलिडिफाई होता है तो इंट्रूसिव बनेगा. एंड व्हाट इज वन फेमस एग्जांपल ऑफ इग्नियस रॉक? वी हैव आवर ग्रेनाइट. ठीक है, बेसाल्ट भी है, डोलामाइट भी है. ग्रेनाइट, basalt, dolomite, there are many more. See, I have already taught you what are the various types of rocks we have, right? कहाँ पे पढ़ाई की थी? बिल्डिंग मटेरियल्स में पढ़ाई की थी, राइट? आई हैव थॉट यू दिस चैप्टर, राइट? ये हमारी नोट से टारगेट है IES वाली. एंड आई हैव थॉट यू व्हाट आर द वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ रॉक्स. लाइक इग्नियस रॉक में है ग्रेनाइट, बेसाल्ट, डोलराइट. एंड in sedimentary rocks we have gravel, sandstone, limestone, gypsum, etc. So just go back and revise that also once because very important, right? So now come back to this sedimentary rock. What is happening? I have told you in our soil mechanics that whatever the existing rocks are there, what will happen? It will get eroded over time and this will be deposited in suitable locations. Agreed or not? So what is happening? It will be getting deposited. ये जो sediments at the bottom है, they are getting compacted because of the load above it. They are getting compacted, right? So finally whatever the sediments are there, they are getting compacted and cemented. What we are getting? We are getting sedimentary rock. What are the famous examples? The famous examples are sandstone and limestone. ठीक है? And next is metamorphic rock. See, it could be our igneous rocks or sedimentary rocks. It doesn't matter. Igneous rocks and sedimentary rock. It will have certain its structure, right? Crystal structure. Crystal का जो भी structure रहेगा, it will be fixed in this, right? But what is happening? If you are changing the properties, okay, if you are changing the temperature or pressure, ठीक है, if you are increasing the temperature or if you are increasing the pressure, then obviously this crystal structure will get modified. Agreed or not? So whenever you are applying this temperature or pressure, that there will be change in rocks and they will be forming metamorphic rock. As simple as that. We have igneous rocks and sedimentary rocks, and whenever you are changing the state of them, you will be getting metamorphic rock. For example, granite का क्या हो जाएगा? If you have a granite and you are changing its temperature and pressure, it will be transforming into gneiss. याद है आपको? भूलोगे नहीं ना, पढ़ाया था बिल्डिंग मटेरियल्स में. एंड वी हैव लाइमस्टोन ऑल्सो. लाइमस्टोन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज लाइमस्टोन इज अ सेडिमेंट्री रॉक. बट वेन एवर यू आर चेंजिंग इट्स प्रॉपर्टीज, वो किस में बदल जाएगा? वो बदल जाएगा मार्बल में. वी यूज लॉट ऑफ मार्बल इन आवर कंस्ट्रक्शन, राइट? आई होप यू रिमेंबर सच एग्जाम्पल्स. Next concept is foliation. This is not that important, but after that we will be studying folds and faults. काफ़ी important रहेगा. This is a very basic thing, not that important. See, basically whenever you are taking a igneous rock, it will be something like that. Okay, you cannot distinguish in it. You cannot see any layers on the surface. But whenever you are taking this metamorphic rock, आपको एक clear surfaces दिखाई देंगे. ठीक है? I hope you got it right. So you will be seeing a clear surfaces. Why so? Because whenever you are applying any load on it, for example, if you are applying any stresses, these stresses could be of pressure application or temperature application, because you know, right, अगर temperature बढ़ाते हो, temperature stresses develop होगा body में. Agreed or not? It could be of any types of stresses, but if you are inducing stresses in your igneous rock, what will happen? आपके जो crystals रहेगा ना, इसमें जो crystals रहेगा, it will rearrange itself and you will be getting this foliated shape. ठीक है? ये foliated shape क्या देगा? It will give us plane of weakness. Plane of वीकनेस। बेसिकली ये कहाँ पे रहेगा, मेटामॉर्फिक रॉक्स में ज़्यादा दिखेगा, जहाँ पे हमने स्ट्रेस अप्लाई किया है वहाँ पे हमें ए फोलिएटेड स्ट्रक्चर दिखेगा. For example, metamorphic rocks. What do they represent? They represent plane of weakness in rocks. Okay, so what is happening? The individual minerals, whatever are present in our rocks, they are aligning themselves perpendicular to the stress field such that their long axis are in the direction of these planes, and that's why we can clearly see such type of difference or foliated structure in our metamorphic rocks. I hope it is very clear. Now let us see a very important topic. Now next is a very important term, strike and dip. ठीक है, so when I am talking about strike, right, it gives the direction of bedding plane. लिख लेना, direction of bedding plane, direction in which geological structure is present, or to be precise लिख लेना, direction in which bedding plane is present. बेडिंग प्लेन इज प्रेजेंट. ठीक है, सो ये हमें बस डायरेक्शन देगा, नॉर्थ ईस्ट, व्हाट आर द कोऑर्डिनेट्स लाइक दैट. ओके, सो दिस इज माय बेडिंग प्लेन. इफ ये जो है ना, ये जो मेरा ये है मेरा बेडिंग प्लेन. ठीक है, सो स्ट्राइक जस्ट गिव्स मी डायरेक्शन, दिस विल बी माय स्ट्राइक, एंड यू कैन क्लियरली सी दीज बेडिंग प्लेन्स आर मेकिंग सम एंगल, राइट, दीज आर मेकिंग सम एंगल. ठीक है, सो दैट इज गिवन बाय डिप. It means slope or inclination expressed in both magnitude and direction. ठीक है, so in which direction we have slope and what is the magnitude of that slope, that will be given by dip. So basically strike will be represented by like this and dip will be represented by a short line like this. ठीक है, dip एक short line से represent करते हैं, but it is up to you. If you want to drag, you can drag and write it as dip. But if you are not writing anything and basically writing something like this, तो ये long line क्या हो जाएगा, strike हो जाएगा, short line क्या हो जाएगा, dip हो जाएगा. Dip basically क्या करेगा, angle represent करेगा. You can see here, right? So it is something like this. So you can clearly see this line and this line. Okay, so it is making some angle theta. यहाँ पे आपको clear से दिखता है ना theta. So it will generally give what is the inclination of your bedding plane or geological structure. I hope you got it right. So strike and dip समझ में आ गया. Next is joint. See, basically whenever you have rocks, whenever you go to some old sites और ये भी जो भी आप hills देखने जाओगे, बेसिकली आपको क्रैक्स दिखाई देगा. ठीक है, सो वेन एवर यू आर गोइंग एंड सीइंग दिस रॉक्स, ह्यूज रॉक्स, यू कैन इजीली सी देयर विल बी सर्टेन क्रैक्स. ओके, सो दिस स्मॉल क्रैक्स वॉट एवर वी हैव, राइट, वी कॉल इट एज जॉइंट्स. ओके, ये जो स्मॉल क्रैक्स है वी कॉल इट एज जॉइंट. देयर वोंट बी एनी ह्यूज डिस्प्लेसमेंट, बस थोड़ा सा लिटिल डिस्प्लेसमेंट रहेगा. सो क्रैक्स ओरिएंटेड इन डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन को हम जॉइंट्स कहते हैं, एंड इट्स इज ओनली लिटिल और नो डिस्प्लेसमेंट. I hope it is very clear. So next is fold. This is very important. Give it 5 star. यहाँ से क्वेश्चन बहुत आता है. सी जस्ट लाइक कॉन्क्रीट, वेन एवर यू आर अप्लाइंग लोड, ऑब्वियसली व्हाट विल हैपन, दिस स्लैब्स विल बी बेंडिंग, राइट, ये तो क्या हो जाएगा, बेंड हो जाएगा. सिमिलरली वेन एवर यू आर अप्लाइंग सम forces on rock, it will also have to bend, agreed or not? So they will be bending either in upward direction or downward direction because of continuous application of load or whatever. मेरा जो भी rock है वो बिल्कुल straight नहीं रहेगा bedding plane, it will be something like this, it could be like this or it could be like this. Okay, I hope you got it right. So the bend in rock, whatever we are having, we are called as fold. Please do remember, the bend whatever you are getting in rocks, it is nothing but fold. ओके, वेरी क्लियर. एंड यहाँ पे दो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म्स आते हैं, सिंक्लाइन एंड एंटीक्लाइन. ठीक है, सिंक्लाइन एंड एंटीक्लाइन. ठीक है, सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कॉनकेव एंड कॉन्वेक्स. Concave and convex. Many people have problem with concave and convex. Concave and convex, and they do a lot of mistakes. Just see your teacup. Teacup किस तरह से रहता है, कुछ इस तरह से रहता है ना. Here you will be having handle and here inside you will be having tea. Agreed or not? So this teacup will be my concave upwards. Concave upwards. Because it is upward, right? ये teacup ये upward होगा, ये downward direction होगा. If you are folding it like this, it will be downward direction. Agreed or not? So if you are keeping your cup up in the position which you generally keep, that will be concave upward. If you are keeping your teacup something like this, ठीक है, आपने कर कुछ इस तरह से रख दिया, ये क्या हो जाएगा, concave downward हो जाएगा, concave downward हो जाएगा. ठीक है, so जिसका opposite क्या हो जाएगा, convex हो जाएगा. If this is concave upward, you can also write it as convex downward. ठीक है, convex downward, and this is concave upward, so you can write it as convex upward. As simple as that, right? समझ में आ गया आपको, गलती नहीं करोगे. Please draw the diagram and write it as a hint so that you will not forget. Okay, so काफ़ी simple hint है ना. If your cup is upwards, this is concave upwards. So obviously concave का upward कह रहे हैं, तो क्या हो जाएगा, convex का downward हो जाएगा. Same this curve is called as convex downward also. ठीक है, convex downwards. ठीक है, so now let us see what is happening in nature. whenever you have this fold something like this, you can see clearly, right? It is like a teacup, right? यहाँ पे आप tea रख सकते हो, right? So it is just like a teacup. So it will be concave upward, or you can also call it as convex downward. See, obviously it is mostly it will be written in convex language. That's why you have to write it as convex downwards. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया आपको? Next you have anticline. It is like closed teacup, right? So obviously it will be concave down, or you can write it as convex upward. ठीक है, so whenever you have this convex upward, you will be getting anticline, and when you have this convex downward, you will be getting syncline. So you have to remember this, very important, syncline and anticline. See, there are actually two rules. The first rule is this downward and upward, वो तो आपको समझ में आ गया है. Next is the limbs dip away in your syncline. You can clearly see, right, how it is something like this. ठीक है, so your limbs are dipping away, whereas in anticline your limbs will be coming close. ये जो limbs है ना, ये क्या कर रहा है, नजदीक आने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, so that will be anticline. These are the two properties of syncline and anticline. I hope you will never forget it. Very 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 important. Please do remember, convex downward क्या होता है, syncline होता है. convex upward क्या होता है, anticline होता है. ठीक है, and limbs dip away in syncline and limbs come towards in anticline. So similarly we have different types of fold. You can obviously write it, right? So symmetric fold, if you have a very symmetrical shape, okay, so then we'll be calling it a symmetric fold. If you don't have a symmetrical shape, if you have something like this, then we'll be calling it as asymmetrical fold. ठीक है, so simple, right? And if the thickness of fold is uniform, then we'll be calling it as uniform thickness fold, or you can also call it as open fold. Very important bit again. So what is open fold? If the fold has uniform thickness, we will be calling it as open fold. If you don't have any uniform thickness, you can clearly see, right, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, thickness कम गया है. Okay, so thickness is continuously changing, we will be calling it as closed fold, and it will be also called as non-uniform fold. Please do remember, open fold यानी uniform fold होता है, closed fold यानी नॉन यूनिफॉर्म फोल्ड होता है. एज सिंपल एज दैट. समझ में आ गया? नाउ नेक्स्ट इज फैन फोल्ड. सी, वॉट एवर टॉपिक आई हैव taught you, syncline and anticline, just reverse the limb direction and you will be getting your fan fold. See, any type of bending is called as fold. Agreed or not? Bending जो भी आप रॉक में देखते हो उसे हम फोल्ड कहते हैं. But what is this fan fold? Let us try to understand. So previously my syncline was something like this, right? My syncline was something like this. मेरा कप normal direction में and the limbs are moving away. But if my limbs are actually coming close, okay, instead of going away, if the limbs are coming close, then I will be calling it as syncline fan fold. Syncline fan fold. I hope you got it right. And what was anticline? Anticline was something like this, right? The limbs were coming closer. The limbs were coming closer. So here what will happen? Anticline for fan fold, what it will be? It will be something like this. Okay, it will be something like this. Your limbs will be moving away. As simple as that. I hope you got the point, right? So anticline original, it will be something like this. Limbs नजदीक आते हैं, but anticline fan fold किस तरह से रहेगा? Limbs will be moving away. ठीक है, that is the only difference. Just opposite direction में limbs आएगा, that will be my fan fold. And syncline obviously it should be moving away, but here if they are coming towards, we'll be calling it as syncline fan fold. As simple as that. You got it right? So similarly we have different types of fold. Like next is monocline. If you have only two limbs, okay, if you have only two limbs, we will be calling it as monocline. ठीक है, in the diagram basically if you have two limbs, it could be in the syncline manner or anticline manner. We generally call it as monocline. ठीक है. And what is isoclinal fold? Just remember, no need to go in this much detail. Iso yani equal, right? If the angle of bending is same, okay, you can clearly see it is bending here, right? So it is clearly bending. So whenever it is bending, if the angle is same, we will be calling it as isoclinal fold. And this W type of fold, we will be calling it as chevron fold. So this is different types of fold. Next we are talking about fault. What is this fault? Whatever structure you have, the rock structure, whatever you have, it could be because of any of the natural forces. It could be because of temperature, pressure or gravitational forces. It doesn't matter. So क्या होगा? Relatively move हो जाएगा. For example, see this diagram. First it would be completely straight, something like this. Okay, so due to some forces, what happened? You can clearly see these both have moved apart, right? You can clearly see these both surfaces have moved apart, right? So this is called as fault. Okay, I hope you got it right. It is the surface along which one side have moved relatively to the other in the direction parallel to the surface, and this is called as fault. This surface is called as fault. ओके. सो फॉल्ट यानी बेसिकली क्या होता है, फेल्यूर होता है, ब्रिटिल शेयर फेल्यूर. यू कैन क्लियरली सी राइट. सो यूर वॉट एवर स्ट्रक्चर वॉज देयर, इट वॉज फेल्ड एंड मूव्ड इन डिफरेंट डायरेक्शंस. ओके, एंड यू आर गेटिंग अ फॉल्ट. आई होप यू गॉट इट राइट. समझ में आ गया. एंड वेन एवर दिस स्ट्रक्चर्स आर मूविंग अपार्ट, द हॉरिजेंटल कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट को हम क्या कहते हैं, हीव कहते हैं. अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म. एंड वर्टिकल कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट को हम कहते हैं थ्रो. हीव एंड थ्रो. व्हाट इज हीव एंड थ्रो? हॉरिजेंटल डिस्टेंस इज हीव एंड वर्टिकल कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट जो भी आपको आया वर्टिकल डिफरेंस, that will be your throw. I hope you got it right. So there are two types of faults which we basically study. One is strike slip fault, other is dip slip fault. Okay, so if the displacement is parallel to the line of fault, you can clearly see here, right? If it is in just in the direction parallel and nothing much, we'll be calling it a strike slip fault. But if the displacement is there along the inclination fracture, then we'll be calling it as dip slip fault. Okay, clearly आप देख सकते हो, it has moved downwards or this thing it could move upward, it doesn't matter, then we'll be calling it as dip slip fault. The fault whatever is getting, we'll be calling it as dip slip fault. So this is the end of your geology. And whatever question, technical question, it comes in examination, it should come from these above topics only. This is guaranteed. ठीक है, आपको कुछ भी मिस नहीं हुआ है. Everything I have covered. And if question comes, it will be definitely from this only. And there is one more module left of surveying, in which I am going to teach you photometry and field astronomy. It needs lot of imagination. काफ़ी simple terms रहेगा. No need to worry about it. That module I will cover later on. ठीक है. So I hope you will be topping this exam. All the best. See you in next subject.